So recently, the entire movie industry was turned on its head when famous YouTuber Markiplier, through nothing but community effort, managed to get his horror film Iron Lung into theaters without any distributor, and then make over $40 million off a $3 million budget, which is simply unheard of, especially for a cosmic horror movie based off of an indie video game. But the actual lore and cosmology of Iron Lung from both the game itself and the movie is one of the most fascinating and terrifying we've seen in recent years. On the micro scale, it's a story about the no-win scenario of being sealed inside a submarine in an ocean made of blood, only being able to see through the individual photos as unknown horrors hunt you outside as resources dwindle. But on the macro scale, it's a story about an entire universe dying, with very little hope of humanity's survival. Of course, anytime I hear of a horror situation with a very low chance of winning, my mind immediately goes to one man, Mr. Satan, the world champion and definitely the most powerful character in all of Dragon Ball. Is Iron Lung truly an unsurvivable situation, or does it just require the world champ difference in order to survive? In this video, I hope to answer that question. If you like this kind of stuff, make sure to like and subscribe, and let's jump right in. Now, this video will be bringing in elements and spoilers for both the Iron Lung game and the Iron Lung movie, though, as it's stated by the game's creator, David Szymanski, they are different canons from each other. But what that exactly entails is really unknown. For now, I'm going to just assume the canonical differences are based off of individual character events and not wide-scale things like the entire cosmology itself. Also, I will not be sharing any footage of the movie itself besides what has been publicly shared or put on the wiki, as it's not available in its entirety publicly or in high quality. Regardless, this scenario remains the same, which is the opening descriptive text that is shown when you begin playing. Decades ago, every known star and habitable planet vanished, leaving only those who were on space stations or starships. The event became known as the Quiet Rapture. With supplies dwindling and infrastructure crumbling, survivors are searching for any chance of natural resources in a universe of barren moons lit by the ghost light of vanished stars. One such moon holds a strange anomaly, an ocean of blood. You are a convict, tasked with exploring this anomaly in a makeshift submarine nicknamed the Iron Lung. It was not designed for this depth, so you will be welded inside and the forward window will be closed. There was no time for training. If successful, you earn your freedom. In this universe, we'll just say Hercule is one of the last surviving humans who, either because he's seen as a hero who can solve this crisis, or because he's seen as a threat due to being so popular, is placed inside one of these iron lungs and tasked with taking pictures of anomalies at the bottom of the ocean and return them to the surface. So, would Hercule be able to take these pictures and get out alive? Now, the first issue is simply the Iron Lung itself. After all, it is completely makeshift and isn't even actually designed for what it is tasked to do. We can see pretty clearly how it's essentially falling apart throughout a playthrough of the game, simply from the pressure of being at the bottom of the blood ocean. There's also the incredibly tedious and difficult navigation, with the only way to see anything being an incredibly dangerous X-ray camera and the lack of pretty much any other resources. Still, ignoring all the other factors that we'll get into, Mr. Satan would probably be okay just at this stage. While he comes off as cowardly, when push comes to shove, he will take on impossible scenarios head-on despite his fear, most notably against the likes of Kid Buu. If Mr. Satan is anything, he is a survivalist and will do whatever it takes to get out of that situation alive. But the issue is that it's not just a blood ocean. There are monsters and creatures here as well. This is where the movie and the game are the most divided. In the Iron Lung game, there are actually multiple entities. There is the Frog, which is the monster that kills you at the end of the game by destroying the submarine and, as it's described by the ending text, tossed its parts across the bottom of the entire ocean. But there is also the whale/dragon creature, who we see only as an eye, who again smacks your submarine around with ease. Now, to smack around and tear apart a sheer metal submarine capable of resisting deep ocean pressure is actually only a wall-level feat, as far more durable and massive submarines come out to only large building level. Keep in mind, the Iron Lung is barely the size of a room and not even capable of fully resisting the pressure of the ocean that it's in. However, the monsters being wall level in power is probably good news for Mr. Satan because he is probably about as strong as them while having actual speed feats. While he may seem like just a normal strong guy, Mr. Satan is shown consistently hitting at the wall level of power as well, from punching through the side of a bus, to smashing a stack of concrete tiles, to his attacks actually being comparable to dynamite. With his ability to easily outpace a normal person and reacting to an RPG, Mr. Satan would easily be able to beat up any monster that attacks the sub. But there's one major problem. How can he possibly fight back? Let's say the monster does burst into the sub and Hercule knocks it out with a sturdy punch. Now his submarine fills with blood and explodes, and there's no possible way for him to hold his breath and swim all the way back to the surface, because even if he does, the moon doesn't have any air up there. The same thing goes for the movie, where we get a tad more context for the monster, when this scenario is not actually natural to the planet, but is an amalgamation of all the people in the previous expeditions, who is so large that it could actually just crush the iron lung with a single bite. Again, it doesn't really matter if Hercule could beat this monster, because the sub is the only thing keeping him alive, but as long as the sub is intact, he can't punch the creature. But there is hope, as the movie reveals that the glowing void anomaly seen in the game is actually a portal to another dimension. Maybe Mr. Satan can get out that way. However, the scenario in that other universe is probably just as bad as the one in the main universe. And that's even if it is real. From what I interpret, when Markiplier's character goes to the other dimension, he meets a god, again represented by seemingly a giant eye, a being who is looking into our universe and simply through doing so caused the rapture to happen, instantly making all habitable planets disappear and creating these blood ocean moons. There is no reasoning with this being or understanding it or fighting it. It's no different from the cruel, uncaring universe itself. So, as much as Hercule is able to convince the citizens of the universe to help him, he is not using charisma to get his way out of this one. But what if Hercule simply gets lucky and actually just completes his task? Well, again, as the lore heavily implies, there was no getting out. The COI never plans on saving anyone they send down. Maybe they get some pictures, but that's it. What I'm getting at is that this is genuinely one of the most hopeless scenarios in all of fiction. In all of these other Mr. Satan survival videos, there is at worst a slim chance that he makes it out of there. This simply does not exist here. There is simply nothing you can do to save the day unless you're a reality warping god in your own right and can somehow bring everything back. Even if we replaced Mr. Satan with Goku in this scenario, sure, he could easily escape the submarine and beat up the monsters and probably teleport off the moon, but then what? Even if he did somehow manage to confront the god who caused this and beat it up, the damage is already done. Hell, because all of the stars are gone, even Superman would be screwed. No matter which way you go about it, you are cooked in Iron Lung. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. As always, thank you to my members, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya.